Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to be here in Korea. Something I've wanted to do for a very long time, but this is my first trip here. So thank you all for being here.
About on set when we were making the movie, places we wanted to go, and this was the top of the list. So it's very exciting to finally be here and be here with this movie. Thanks.
I really love the culture here and spending time with friends here. So it's very nice to be able to take advantage of that again, coming here with this incredible movie. So thank you so much for having us.
Movie going and loving culture, and thank you so much for welcoming us so well.
지금 엠마 토머스
This gift, and I thought it was absolutely the most beautiful thing because it speaks to the themes of the movie with an anchor there, but I gather that it's a Korean tradition. So I was very, very honored to be given this gift and to be able to wear it.
Well, we actually did get a little bit of time off, so I was able to walk around the city along the river, which is very, very beautiful. It's very hot here, but there are so many different places to keep cool. And then I had the pleasure of trying the salt bread, which is extraordinary and absolutely wonderful. And spoke to people who seemed very, very friendly, very welcoming here. It seems like a really marvelous city, and I'm very glad to have spent some time here.
But we got to go for quite a bit, which was a great experience. And then yesterday we got up and went on a tour and got to see quite a bit of the city, which was wonderful to have a full day off and be able to explore.
It's been amazing. I got to spend a little bit of time with some friends that I made here last time, and then I ate lots of Korean food, and then I might have dabbled in some skincare.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, so as Chris said, we walked along the river that had been buried by the freeway, I understand. And I was so blown away by the nature that we saw there. We saw birds and we saw people wading to keep cool, and I just, it's fantastic. And then I dragged Chris into Oliveyang, which I think he got a little tired of, but I was having a great time. And then, our son, his girlfriend is Korean American, and she gave us a long list of things that we should do, including salt bread. And it's been wonderful. We've packed as much in as we possibly can.
He's come to Korea with one of my films. I think really starting from when we released Interstellar, and we started to learn that Korean audiences have responded very, very well to that film. And when we were seeing how long it played in cinemas and how many people went to see it, it was very, very exciting. And it's a strange thing to have made a film and have people in another part of the world that you've never been to and you don't have an idea of or an impression of because you haven't been there yourself. But to know that audiences there are responding to your film, that's very exciting, but it really makes you want to go, with the film and see what people think and sit in a room with people who are just watching it. And for various reasons, it hasn't been possible up until now. We were going to come with Tenet, and then COVID happened, so that wasn't possible. And so now with the Odyssey, we're getting to enjoy it with Korean audiences for the first time. I'm very, very excited to hear what.
Oh, yeah. A little bit, yes, for sure. I did a lot more walking with my 10-year-old daughter when we were here. We would just kind of get dressed in the morning, have breakfast, and then just walk all day. And I think that's a little harder when you come here with a movie of this size, because we're a little bit more in the public eye. But I feel the incredible thing, I was talking to a friend of mine when we landed here, there's something just this really big energy switch when you land in Korea. It's really, you guys have a beautiful place and your culture is just so rich and you just feel it. You feel it from the moment that you walk out of the airport and when you have that first meal. And so in many ways it's the same, but it's a little different. I'm just very happy to be here again.
Well, one of the things that I love about films in general, I think cinema, is the fact that it unites people. And I think there's something really wonderful that really kind of feeds my soul, I think, and sort of makes me feel very good about what it is that we do when we bring a film to different countries, to different cultures, and present our work in a way that I think, I think it shows you that there's more that unites us than divides us. And I think that the story of the Odyssey is very much a story about sort of, a human being and the things that matter to us as human beings. And I think that is something that is common to me as an English person who lives in America. It's common to people in Korea, it's common to people in France, in India. I'm just thinking about all the places that we've been with this film, and that's, I think, something very special about cinema in general, and so it's very exciting to be here with a film.
Coincidentally, I have a friend who's a baseball agent, and one of his players plays for the Heroes. And so he called and said, they're playing the night you arrive, if you can get there from the airport. So it just seemed like a wonderful opportunity. And I've always heard about baseball in Korea and how I have to see it. And it was such a wonderful experience because the cheering sections for the two teams, that doesn't happen in America. And it was so exciting for us to see the energy that the fans brought and how involved and invested they were. And it was a completely different way to watch a baseball game. So the same sport, but it was received a different way and celebrated a different way. And that was very, very fun. And I'm glad I got a chance to see that for sure. From the moment Chris called me and told me that I had this job, I expected it to be the greatest experience and opportunity of my career. And I expected that because I'd worked with him 2 times before in smaller roles, but I really did understand his process and how he worked, and I absolutely love it. And I knew that this would be similar in the approach, just a lot harder and a lot more work. And it was everything that I wanted it to be, particularly because it was such an ambitious idea, and how he wanted to do it, shoot it all in IMAX, had never been attempted. And I just knew what that would require of the hundreds of people who would be there working with us every day. I've never seen a group pushed as hard as we had to push to make this happen. And I've also never been on a film set where I was entirely sure that every single person there was exactly where they wanted to be. And it was just a remarkable feeling to work that hard with a group of people who were also working that hard, but we're doing something that had never been done, and making movies, which is what they'd all given their lives to. And it was just an extraordinary feeling and experience, and it was joyful just precisely because it was so, in that respect, comprehensively speaking, just the greatest experience I could have asked for.
I stole most of my answer, but I guess that speaks to just Chris is just a consistent director, and it feels I felt it kind of across the board too. Just showing up as the new kid on the block towards the end of the film is not the easiest thing to do, and it's Chris Nolan, and you're nervous. I luckily had my buddy Matt Damon, who I could ask questions, and he could explain the camera to me. So by the time that I walked onto the set, I felt like I had a little bit of knowledge. But the thing that I found endearing and not shocking, but I wasn't expecting to see it on the scale, was just how intimate Chris makes his set. It feels like you're shooting an independent film, and there's something about that I guess I wasn't expecting, because when I look at his movies, they're just so grand and scale, and but there was one moment that I'll never forget when Matt and I were walking in the water. It was just the two of us, because the small crew had kind of like escaped, like without really noticing, and the tide was coming up and the sun was setting, and all of a sudden a helicopter just appeared in the sky, and they were shooting us, and Matt was just like, just walk. It was like Matt knew exactly what to do. but it was just so organized, and the timing of it was just so precise, and it's a real gift, and I felt fortunate to see filmmaking at that level, to see how you have to be disciplined in trying to make these films that he does.
Well, thank you first. The thing that cinema offers you is an experience of sharing a story with an audience, even as you're seeing a subjective sort of first-person point of view that the camera gives you. It's a very, very unique combination of the kind of psychological insight or point of view that you can get from a novel, for example, but the shared experience of a theatrical experience with that empathetic response that the whole audience has. So you're seeing something that's very personal to you and very individual, and the camera is taking you and showing you precise things to you and your unique perspective. You're sharing that with a lot of other people. That's what the medium of cinema has that no other medium has. Novels don't have it, television doesn't have it, theatrical plays don't have it. So it's a different and unique medium, and that's really the value of it. And people then will see your film after its theatrical presentation in many other forms, and that's fine, and that's great. It's wonderful that our work gets seen very widely like that. But for that initial birth into the world, for that process that identifies creatively what it is that you've made, there's really nothing quite like the theatrical experience for that. And in particular, I think with a story like The Odyssey, we're really trying in the way we've made the film to bring the audience on Odysseus' journey. So we want the audience to feel that they're on the deck of the ship with him, and that they're climbing mountains with him or going into the Cyclops cave with him. And a theatrical experience where you're sharing that with other people and you're seeing it on a larger than life screen. That's a really great way to experience that.
Where to begin? I've never received a perfect from this director, but I like to think we have a shorthand. I'm a very optimistic person, no, I think we joke about that because Zendaya received one in our presence, and it was Tom Holland and I who witnessed this, and we couldn't get over it. But in terms of yes, this was like shooting 7 movies in the sense that each location was incredibly challenging and another chapter in this longer story. So each one felt like its own film. Because whatever skill you'd mastered to conquer the previous location wasn't applicable to the new one. And so we had to adjust and adjust altogether. In terms of working with Chris, obviously, yes, saying yes as an actor that you'll work with Christopher Nolan, that distinguishes me from precisely 0 other actors on planet Earth. Everybody wants to work with Chris. It's a great job to have. Yeah, as many as he's got. I'm ready. But in an odd way, it's actually not up to either of us if we work together again. It's a funny thing. It's kind of up to the story gods, and neither of us are actually in control of that.
This was purely a Matt Damon issue. I had no qualms. I was very happy with the direction that I got. I wouldn't want it any other way. I wasn't even paying attention to the lack of the word perfection. But, Matt has some things that he needs to work out. And I wish him well in that. I had a great experience, and my phone number is still the same, Chris, if you want to call me the next one. But yeah, no, it was lovely.
Well, that was a perfect answer from Charlize. And Matt's was not terrible. Which for an Englishman, that's a very, very high compliment. Very high compliment.
If I can get a not terrible, that's good enough for me.
I really had to just follow the script. I think Chris wrote a script that was very specific in letting us actors know what he was looking for and what he needed from us. And so for me, it was kind of eye-opening. What I knew of Calypso was very one-dimensional. I'm ashamed to say. And the calypso that Chris was interested in exploring was, to me, felt very human, with very human conflicted notions and emotions, and something that was just very grounded and practical. Like, you know, even from what she's wearing and how she's a survivalist and her dress is a fishnet. Like, all of these things to me felt like really exciting things to build a character that I think, in a way where people have not thought of her like this or seen her like this. And I think anytime you can do something that feels a little bit not regurgitated and you can kind of shake it up and turn it on its head a little bit, that's always exciting for an actor. And also, I don't get a lot of opportunities to play characters like that. And so it was really nice to have that opportunity and to have Chris kind of believe that I could bring something to that. But as far as, you know, how you go about it, you have to just be open and listen. And I had that in the script, and I had that in Chris as a director. I struggled with Matt, but the other things were good.
It wasn't really a surprise because I kind of know at this point what Chris is going for when he picks a project. But I think really just the scale of the movie, you know, and again, it wasn't really a surprise. I feel bad even saying this one, but you know, I think that once we had finished Oppenheimer and the film had done so incredibly well, I think probably the moment where I turned to Chris and said, well, what's the next one going to be? You know, that's always the first moment of surprise. But as I said, like, you know, the thing that I think is really amazing about Chris is that he's always looking to do something new, and he's always looking to capitalize on the leverage that he has. You know, he's always looking to sort of take the opportunities that he has and make the most of them. And so the Odyssey really, whilst it was sort of surprising in one sense, it was also, in another sense, not that surprising that he wanted to take this opportunity that he had and really do something very special. He didn't just want to make this enormous story. He wanted to do it in the most incredibly expansive and extreme way.
I mean, Emma and I have worked together on everything, and it's incredible to have a partner that you have that level of communication with. Emma has no ego in the way she looks at things. There's no agenda. She's really just looking at the project from a purely creative point of view and then a purely practical point of view. And having somebody at the very earliest stages to be able to share my intentions for the project before I've even written the script is enormously important to every project we've ever made, but in particular this one that had to be so expansive and so complicated, to be able to start those conversations even before I'd written the script. That's a very great privilege, and it's a really important part of how we work.
Can I just add one thing? It was something that did surprise me. Incredibly arduous to make. It was a very, very long and, you know, people really had to dig deep in order to bring everything to this project. We were traveling a lot, working in very difficult conditions. And I think that the thing that really surprised me actually was that when we wrapped the film at the very end, we were all ready to be done. And Matt was there on that last day. And I remember very distinctly, Chris called cut, the film was over. We had a glass of champagne by the camera, as we usually do at the end of a film, and nobody wanted to leave. Like, nobody wanted to leave. It was almost like everyone was bonded by trauma, and they wanted to stay. And that surprised me, because I thought that by the end we were all just going to be like, let's go.
Yeah, it was midnight, and we stayed for hours. Standing out there, yeah.
Exactly. It was really a wonderful and special moment, and quite surprising.
Movies work best when you let the audience come to them and decide what the film is about and experience it. So in a way, my answer to what's the message of the film is the experience of the film itself. What I'm really hoping Korean audiences will get from it, presumably a lot of people will be very unfamiliar with the story, but we've made the film for people who know nothing about Homer's Odyssey. I really want them to have a sense of adventure and entertainment and emotional engagement with it. So more than anything, I just want them to have a great time with it.
Well, I agree with Chris. This is the most exciting and scary moment for us, which is to give the film to you, and discover what you have to say about it. And the discussions are always so interesting. And much like the original poem, depending on where you are in your life, it resonates in different ways for you. And I think the film is very rich thematically, and so hopefully it will resonate in different ways with the audience. So we're excited to hear in what ways it does that, and listen to what you have to say.
With Chris and Matt, I feel the greatest part about going to the movies is that you're going to have your own experience, an individual experience. And when you leave, hopefully it starts conversation. And that's how I enjoy movies. That's how I've stopped watching trailers, actually, because I just miss that experience of sitting in a theater and the lights going out and just being taken on this journey. So yeah, it's hard to say like what I hope people will feel, except I hope they'll be really entertained, and I hope they will have a really great experience. And I hope that it will have great conversation afterwards. It's been interesting as we've been traveling to hear people have their own opinion about who they think Calypso is. And to some, she's more villainous, and to some, she's more of a tragic hero. And it's so interesting to see how people are being affected by these characters in the story in a different way. So it is, like Matt said, it's nerve-wracking, but also very exciting to have you all see it and get to experience it, and then to hear what you guys think of it.
Well, I think they've all said it so perfectly, but yeah, I mean, to me, I'm hoping that people will sort of enjoy the movie as a movie. I've very much enjoyed seeing the conversations that have been sort of elicited around the world amongst audiences about the themes of the movie, but so much more. And for me, as I said earlier on, to me, movies and watching movies, it's about connection with people. It's about a sort of a connected and community experience. And I love that the whole world is getting to watch this movie and feel that. And I think that I know that we don't like to talk about what messages that there are in the movie, but I do feel that there's something about the story of the movie that is about connection and about the impact that we have on each other, whether that be thousands of years ago or today. So that, for me, is the important. Thank you so much for welcoming us and for asking us such thoughtful questions. We could not be happier to be here in Korea presenting our movie, and I wish we could stay longer.
That's literally what I was just thinking. But it's been a few days that feel like a lot more than just a few days, and that's because of the hospitality that you guys have given us, and being so hospitable and just really embracing us from the moment that we got here. And so thank you for that, and we're very excited to share this film with you.
Yes, thank you. It is wonderful to be back. Thank you for this incredible reception, and I couldn't be happier to be here with this film, and I cannot wait to hear what everybody thinks about it in Korea. This is an amazing cinema-going culture. It's a very important one. And I'm excited to see what you think of the Odyssey. Thank you for having me.
The film opens here on Wednesday, so for us it's very exciting to be here just on the eve of it opening, and to have all of you here asking such interesting questions and showing such an amazing welcome and respect for us and for the work we've brought here is really thrilling. So we're very grateful. Thank you.